I think we're live now. Okay.
We're live.
We're live. I'm live with Lori. Lori and I are both members of Polka Dot Powerhouse, and we recently connected, and it was just so vibey. We just got to yapping, and we said, you know what? We might have something here. So we decided to get together again and yap. So, hey, Lori.
Hey girl. Yeah, so first of all, I've known Tamara for 2 years, 3 years, a long time. But we've never really like connected on that level. And it was like I was vibrating, my head was exploding. It was like, yes, girl, yes, girl, yes, girl.
Right.
And that's when you know there is something special going on, when you could have like I could have sat and talked to you for another 3 hours for sure.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm glad we got back together. We have a little special guest
Hey, girl.
with us. She loves being on the camera though, and she loves the big ring light. So she's pretty happy. But she
Love
just
that.
from her nap. So what's going on, girl? Where did we leave off?
Where did we leave off? I think we left off at like how to enjoy your business because you enjoy yourself. How to show up for your clients because you show up for yourself.
That's a good point, and that's actually where all my journaling and everything has taken me this week too. And one of the big things I noticed with a VIP session I had last week and reviewing the transcript and looking everything over, and it's interesting because when we connected and she was like, well, I want to know more about what you can do and see if you can help me, I explained like, well, typically people, while people think of me as marketing, of course, and sales and leadership, what I'm finding is that my clients generally want to work with me because they want to tap into my brain, right? They want to tap into the core of who I am and tap into my brain. And so, we did the VIP session, and after the end of the VIP session, like I said, reviewing the transcript, I was like, this was more than marketing. We did more than marketing here. This was really a session about embodiment, right? This was about embodying what I talk about, which is why people want to tap into my brain, why people want to tap into who I am, because especially with so much AI out there right now, with so much AI out there, a lot of people are I see very large, I don't know, creators, but people in the entrepreneur slash influencer space who
She is loving your lips.
yes. She thinks the camera is always about her. But there are people who I see who are really kind of taking, because of the whole AI twin thing, I feel like the essence of their brand is starting to get diluted and lost. I wish I could use the noise canceling. She always wants to get vocal.
Yeah, girl, tell us all about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So people are losing their brand essence, right? Because everything's AI twin, they're just running ads, which is fine, but it's like, where are you? Where is your voice in all of this? It's like it's just this AI twin, but the core of who you are and how you show up is what I'm starting to miss, right? And so I think embodiment is going to be a huge thing moving forward. I hear words and see words being thrown around like evolution. And the thing is, I'm old enough, I've been around for .com bubbles and real estate bubbles. And so I know how things like are always like what was old is new and what's new is now old, how that all flows back and forth all the time. But I think the real focus is on embodiment. And one of the big things, because I did a challenge with my mentors a few weeks ago and really got back in tune with my brand and did a lot of deep work around that. And one of the things that came up for me is and I've been talking to some other people in the space, and we all kind of agree, like identity, right? A lot of this is really around identity work, knowing who you are and knowing who you are not. And again, how that goes back to AI is not human. Your competitive edge, at least in the short term, the next couple of years, is all going to be about how can you bring human beingness. Being is the new doing to your brand, right? Your brand has to be human to differentiate yourself, as everybody else is starting to fade away because all they're doing is posting AI twins.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Yeah. She thinks a lot about it, because let me tell you, she is tapped into her identity right now. Let me tell you, it really is like, I think so often we're looking to be special and we're trying to be unique and we're trying to, like, what's your unique selling proposition and all of those things. When like you said, what's old is new and what's new is old, and there's nothing new under the sun, and everything that's been created has been created. And when your consciousness shifts, that's what you see all around you, and things that you're like, oh, nobody's thought of this. As soon as you start thinking about it, it starts showing up around you, right? And so really, when you really dig in to say, like, who I am is the juice, right? It's not what I say. It's not how I market. It's not what I say in my marketing. It's not the funnel. It's not the strategy. It's not, yes, those things have a place. However, that is not what your clients want. They want you. They want the you that is the only one that came to the planet to do and be and say the things that you do. And that is how the embodiment happens, right? Because people can sell things all day long, ideas, products, but without that genius that is you, it actually stops like this. Like, here's the information, but if there's no embodied me, I can't help you embody it. And then it's just information, and we can get the information anywhere, and we can get it for free.
You can get it from Google. You can get it from YouTube for free. And that's what has been the biggest takeaway for me the past few weeks, is it's more than just my 33 years of sales, marketing, and leadership, right? It's who I am, because people are looking to plug in to a source, right? They're looking to plug in to something. And here's, I posted about this the other day, like, when I don't know what it is about me, but people are going to plug into me, right? And so I might as well get paid for it.
Amen, sis. Yeah. Yeah. And that really is, like, I love how it's not about your 33 years. It's what you have done and who you be in relationship to your 33 years, right? Because there's lots of people who have more experience than you, but will be way less effective because they're only focusing on what that intellectual property is, instead of really what is that essence of, I call divine energy. That,
well, and it reminds me of the question about, because we just came out of I think we're in a perpetual election cycle, right? And the whole don't talk about politics because you'll lose half of your audience. You actually want to lose half of your audience.
Yep.
You want to lose half of your audience, because what people are looking for is they don't want to do business with someone who votes against what they stand for and who they are. And I'm not making this political. I'm just speaking facts, right? People don't want to do business with somebody who ideologically, fundamentally at the core is completely different from them from a values and a principled standpoint. And you don't have to like it, but you have to understand that that's just the way that it is, because you can pretend and you can hide it. And then when they find out, you're going to lose them anyway. because it was all fake. So you might as well be authentic and real and upfront, and your people are going to find you. Right? It's not about being divisive. The divide was already made, whether you like it or participate in it or not. The divide is there. It is, right? You doesn't mean that you have to be mean or nasty to people or some of the other crazy stuff that was being talked about in recent months, but your people are your people, and they're going to be your people because they are your people, because you are who you are and you are embodying who you are, and that helps them embody who they are.
And I think that's what the key is. When I model, when you model, when somebody else models the freedom of being their unique self, it gives that permission to others. And our if we want to really get serious about what moves the needle in people's lives, it really is them embodying that deeper allowance for whoever they are, right? And so we can do some marketing, but it's not going to move the needle. And when we recognize that, you as a coach, a marketing expert, me as a coach, someone else as a car washer, right? Whatever that might be. When we recognize that the thing that we do is simply just the excuse to have a vehicle to show up, to give people permission to be loved for whoever they are, that's what moves the needle.
This is so crazy because after that VIP session, I called my friend Keisha, right? And Keisha and I met on Periscope in like 2014. I remember because my grandson was just a baby. It was 2015 because that was when Periscope. And we've never met in person, but we are like business besties. We kept being in these same rooms, these same live streams on Pinterest, and we finally was like, you know what, we should talk off of what was it, Periscope? I almost said Pinterest, right? And so that all these years later, we still have a very strong friendship and bond, yet we still have not been able to meet in person. And so I called her because she's one of those people that I can call and talk to about these things. And she said almost word for word what you just said.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I like her already. Taboo. This sounds familiar.
That's awesome. Again, like there's nothing new under the sun, right? And when we just show up in that freedom to be us, and we just let whatever come out of our mouth, and then somebody goes, oh my gosh, wait a minute. Like that's the divine orchestration of flow, right? Everybody is looking for this place where money, opportunity, relationships, joy, peace just flows. And the only place we're ever going to find that is in being our authentic self. And believe it or not, no matter what your niche is, and I can't remember who the first person that ever taught me about micro niching, but when they talked about micro niching, and they're like, when you small down to your micro niche, now it doesn't matter what you say, they will be hanging on the edge of everything that you say. But if we're out there trying to please other people and get the likes and get the views and get the things, then we're going to catch some people and we're not going to catch some people. And then there's going to be the haters and then right. And we don't realize that if we just authentically show up, then those things stop mattering, because how we feel about what we're doing is what actually like fuels our soul and creates that flow. And then we go, oh my gosh, that's what I've been looking for all along. And I don't even have to have $1 million or 1 million views or 1 million followers. I have the thing that I've been desiring from the beginning.
Well, and this came up in the large group mastermind last month, right? If you are at an event and to build your list, you're giving people QR codes. Yeah, you should have your actual link listed because in case of technological glitch and for accessibility. However, to start worrying about, well, some people aren't into tech. They're not your ideal client, right? And if they're not your ideal client, why are you bending over backwards to suit them? Because chances are it's just going to be, once you start going out of alignment, you're just going to get further and further and further, which means you're going to get more overwhelmed and more frustrated, and you're going to really hate it, right? So you end up creating resistance when you try to be everything to everyone. And my favorite saying is, when you're talking to everyone, you're talking to no one. And it's such a scarcity mindset when there's this focus on, my favorite is, my ideal client is anyone with skin. Okay, but if they don't care about their skin, if they don't care about washing their legs, right? If they sleep on the same sheets that they've had on their bed, so long that they have a body oil print on it, then they're not your ideal client, right? I always say, I'm not in the business of convincing people. There's educating. I will educate, but I'm not in the business of convincing people. And that's where that resistance comes from, because you're trying to be everything to everyone, and it's driven by scarcity. When you have that abundant mindset, it's very easy to be yourself, because you're going to pull in magically, just magnetically, your people are going to be drawn to you. And that's really what embodiment is all about.
I have to tell you, because one of our polka dot sisters that was in that mastermind is in my small group mastermind. And we just had it yesterday. And she goes, guys, remember when we were talking about like who your ideal client is and doing things because that's what you're supposed to do? She said, at my last speaking gig, I decided not to do a QR code because every time I do a QR code, nobody does it. She goes, I just went back to paper because I love paper. I went back to paper. She got 24 out of 25 slips filled out for her to now be able to follow up. So I love that. I love it. And there is the proof in the pudding.
I've never done a QR code. I've never done a QR code, right? Like, I think people get so caught up on all these gadgets and all these bells and all these whistles. And it's fundamentally, what is your goal? What are you trying to do? For me, back when I was selling beauty products, I wanted them signed up as a preferred customer. So they had a phone, get them signed up on their phone right then and there. So if they order, they're great. If they go away, you still get the order because you got them signed up as a preferred customer. Forget the QR code. That's just another excuse. That's just another loophole for them to fall through, is this QR code, when, like you said, whether it's manually or through their phone or an iPad or some other instrument, to get them signed up right then and there. I love that.
Yeah. And I love what you were just saying about like, what's your point? What's the goal? And I think most people are in their business to make money. They're in their business for maybe status. They're in their business for influence. There aren't very many people who actually their goal is impact. And that's impact.
Okay.
And that's who we're talking to, right? Yeah. So if you're listening to this and you're like, oh, I don't know, all these other things matter, and like AI, but it makes it faster and all the things, then guess what? We're probably not talking to you, because we genuinely, like, I love what you said about when you do why, and when your why is actually impacting the lives of other people, a lot of things get easier than when you're trying to do it for yourself. And it goes back to that mindset that you were just saying. The scarcity mindset is about what we get. The abundance mindset is about the contribution that I get to give. And once you hit that, success is inevitable. It's inevitable.
I agree. You've got to really be focused on the other person. There are creators I see, and I cringe every time I hear the word, I need you to. No, I don't care what you need me to do. It's about, why do I need to do it? Why is it important for me? Everybody is tuned in to station what's in it for me, not what's in it for you. And it's one of the things I go back and forth with Chat GPT about when it's helping me write or edit, in that is like, this is too eye focused. Like, this is about the ideal client, right? This is, what is going to make them move? What do they need to hear to take action, not what I want them to do or what I need them to do? Because if I take care of them and I get them what they need and what they came to me for, everything else is going to take care of itself.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so funny because I remember I was listening to somebody at one point in time and she kept going, okay, I need you to do this. I need you. And I couldn't figure out why it kept tweaking me, because what she was saying was like really great. I'm like, yeah, that's really great, but why is this tweaking me? And now I know.
It sounds very parental.
Yeah. Yeah.
It sounds very parental, but it just also, and very authoritative. I mean, we all want to have some sort of authoritarian, be an authority, but we don't want to make people feel like we're trying to rule over them.
Yeah. Yeah. Nobody's got time
Force
for that.
them to do anything, So yeah, embodiment and, identity is the new niche, community is the new brand. And this is all really centered around a lot of what's happening with AI, right? And so people are going to be, and they already are, looking for communities to be a part of. Like, community is going to be so huge in 2026. Everybody's going to kind of retreat to their little tribes and communities. And I know tribe is not the word. I don't know what word we're using in place of it, though, in 2026.
Well, I believe that we should honor other people. And I also believe that sometimes when you feel the person's heart behind using the word tribe, you go with their heart instead of the word that they're using, that they don't have another word yet. Right.
Well, and sometimes it's someone who means well, who is telling everybody like, oh, that's bad, you shouldn't do that. But no one from that actual community came forward and said, oh, we don't like you saying that. Be quiet, right?
Yeah. What is that? Good intention, or the
well intention?
Yeah.
Because I'm going back and I'm reading the book Tribes by Seth Godin, because I've always been a community builder, but it's going to be super important moving forward. I'm seeing people who hate Facebook groups. They're reigniting their Facebook group because it's important. And I think we gotta understand, like, I have this love-hate relationship with Facebook, right? Mainly because they act very authoritarian, not authoritative, authoritarian. And they're just not my favorite. However, the platform itself is so unique. It's so unique. And I don't think a lot of people realize this. I pay attention to what I post and who interacts with it, right? I never know. I can't say for sure who Facebook is showing things to, but I know that they are paying attention and they know what posts to send to my organic and local market versus bigger audience that I have out there. That I know. So if I am geo tagged to a specific local location, or if they can figure it out because they're spying on everything, that I had brunch at this place, that post goes to people connected to my hometown, right? But if I'm posting other things, that especially more marketing and more business, that goes in front of those people, but it also goes to a much larger audience. And so I say all that to say, again, it's just about really just being who you are. And Facebook is probably the best platform that really actually embodies that, because they have so much data on all of it. Like 29,000 different data points on us, most of which given them by saying, oh yeah, I like this, I like that. And that's actually what drew me to Facebook marketing in the first place, because as a marketer, I knew exactly what they were doing. But then through stealing our data, they know a whole lot about us. It reminds me, when I worked at the bank, I said something in front of a group of friends, and I saw their faces when I said it, because they had a realization. I was like, oh yeah, I know everything about you by looking at your bank transaction history. I know a lot about you. And the looks on their faces made me realize that I know even more than I realized that I know from the looks. But they weren't my customers, and I didn't see their transaction history. Just speaking on, yeah, like people would come in and they need stuff fixed, and you can see who was going to certain websites. You can see who was going and gambling. You knew a lot about a person by looking at their transaction history. And so it's just, if I can do that with human eyes, imagine how the algorithm is interpolating and connecting the dots with all that data.
So let me ask you a question. If somebody is, and maybe the difference is what you said about marketing, maybe with ads as opposed to like organic, because my understanding is that organic growth is better on Instagram because of the way that Instagram shares reels. But if you're saying coming back to Facebook really being where you want to market, why is that, and what's the difference?
Well, I'm not saying it's one more than the other. I'm saying that for one, Instagram and Facebook are really actually operating a lot the same way, because they are owned by the same company, right? Meta, right? And so Reels is how you get discovered by more people. But no matter what they do and how they finagle it on Facebook, because for so long, it's really been dependent upon your actual connection, your actual network, that they have a much tougher time getting the two to come together versus other platforms, right? Facebook, you can close a lot more from Facebook, in my opinion. I don't care what anybody says, especially from coaching and that, and organically than other platforms, because the level of trust. Going now, you're getting me going again. Because the level of trust on Facebook cannot be matched. And here's why. Because Facebook was one of the first social networks. But what it actually is Facebook is a people verified directory. Okay. So I'm going to explain what that means. Back in the day, to even have a Facebook account, you had to have a college email address. And then they eventually opened it up. While we didn't have to show ID or anything like that, there are rules. You can only use your government name, right? And if they find out that you are not using your government name, they will shut your account down and make you show ID to prove who you are. So Facebook is a verified people identity, and that is part of why it has a reputation or a nickname as the CIA. Because they know who you are. They know who you are, and they know when you are moving different, right? They know when something is out of character, out of whack for your account. Now, the AI, when they roll out these new AIs, they don't always get it right. Like, I saw someone today on another platform very upset because all of their stuff got shut down for something they absolutely did not do, but it's all the AI, right? So Facebook is different in that way, is that it is a people verified platform. Instagram still has a problem, a huge problem. And that is, like, when you look at large accounts like Kylie, like Kim, and probably even Taylor, a huge portion of those accounts are bots. Right? A huge portion. There's nothing you could do on Instagram, especially in its heyday, like 2015, 2016, to keep from being followed by bots. There was absolutely nothing you could do to stop it, especially if you ever went viral, which, hello, I did many times. There's nothing you can do because there's more of them than there are of you, and you cannot possibly stop it. And so that's what makes Facebook so special and makes it convert at a different rate. Is it's a people verified directory, so you
Mhm.
don't have a lot of bots, and because of all the data,
Mm.
it's the best. Their ads, like their ads, when you get it right, it's unmatched because of the amount of data that they have.
Mm.
That's pretty irrefutable.
Mhm. So, what would you say to someone who feels like they're dialed in with their business, they're showing up as authentically as possible, like, because we all, like, right, we all have those saboteurs, but they're showing up as authentically as possible, they're dialed in with their avatar and their message. How would you tell them to, like, what would be the first step to actually start generating money on Facebook for their business?
I'm trying to follow the question because I assumed they already had one and they were already monetizing it based on the way you described it. So
Okay.
so if they have built an audience and they have built a community, they need to know and be able to offer something that audience and that community wants. And one of the greatest ways to do that is through polls and that in stories to, and you can even do it on posts now. Ask, get the feedback and find out what people actually want. And they have to probably switch up some of their messaging and how they are writing their captions, because there are people who there was a Instagrammer a couple of years ago, like 3 million followers, launched t-shirts and only sold 39, right?
Oh,
There's an actress and a singer who recently launched an album that only sold like 4,100 units, but she's got, at least 1 million followers. So there's a disconnect there somewhere. And so here's how I did it back in 2015 with Periscope. Now, mind you, I had been selling beauty products in my sleep on Instagram and Facebook all around the world, people I'd never even spoken to before, right? But when I went to launch my first course, it was interesting because I actually saw a gentleman do it on Periscope. He went live like 3-5 times, all within a matter of hours on Periscope. And he's like, because he had been doing it. So this is not something that he just started. He had been doing it and he had been providing value. And he said, I'm thinking about creating a course. If I created this course on this subject, here's what I think I would put in there. I want to know what you guys think about it. And the audience went crazy. The board lit up with the stream of the comments lit up. And so he kept asking these questions and he said, I'm thinking about pricing it. Now, personally, I don't think you should be asking people what it should be priced at. That's just my personal and professional opinion. I don't go that far with it. But I looked at that and I still follow this person. I think they're an amazing marketer. So this is no reflection on them. But I looked at it and I said to myself, because this is someone who is younger than me, did not have the formal education, hadn't worked on major consumer brands that are household names. I said, if he can do this, there is no fucking way that I should not be able to do this also. Like,
mhm.
I looked and it reminds me of when, a notable figure said, you get in the room and you realize these people are no better than you. They are no smarter than you. Often you are way past beyond them, right? And that was my moment, right? That was like that. And so I went live and I did the same thing, but did it my way with my product, and I launched it and it went well. And I've been rolling ever since. So that's what I would do, is I would go live and, do the research, get in your comments, get in the DM, and get to talking to people and see. Often it's in your comments. People are often in your comments telling you what they want more of from you, and to that.
So are you a proponent or a greater proponent, or what does it matter, the difference between like organic growth, organic research, organic growth like that, and ads?
It's a great question. Because I do not think because people love to say, oh, I did this and I did this without any paid ads. And that is not the flex that they think it is. It's just not the flex that they think it is. Okay. So a couple things. I will not work with an ad client who does not have an already high converting product, because most smaller one-person shop businesses do not have the budget to do the testing, and they also don't have the stomach to spend that much money and not be getting a return on the money to do the testing without it already being a high converting. So I want to get that out of the way. Most people who want to run ads shouldn't even be running ads. They should be doing the groundwork. That you cannot get past doing the groundwork. You just cannot. I don't care who it is that you see out there in these internet streets. They did the groundwork at some point. They did the grunt work at some point, and you just saw the overnight success portion of their journey. You didn't see the iceberg that was underneath the water of what all they really built, right? And so you have to do that. There is no circumventing it unless you have major budget like a McDonald's or Starbucks or somebody like that, right? So with that being said, organic is that portion of it, right? It's building that. It's proof of concept. And then you get it to a point where, and this is where a lot of people give up. This is where they set their social media down and start another one. And it's really a signal that they need to start running ads. Because ads are to scale. Ads are to scale. Think about it. McDonald's would never be what it is today without advertising, without paid advertising. They wouldn't.
Yeah.
That's one of the number one reasons, other than real estate, that companies borrow money and look for angel investors, and that outside of inventory is to be able to run ads so that they can scale. And that's really what the difference is. Now, that you can, with that being said, if you are a Tamira Hamilton, you can use ads in the grunt work, but you're not using them with the objective of customers. And that's weird and strange for a lot of people. They don't understand that. And so I don't play in the sandbox with them like that, because you can use ads to build brand awareness, to get engagement, to increase blog readership, to grow your email list. But most people associate ads and spending that dollar they want in return, they can feel and see in their bank account for that dollar. And so for most people, ads is just not the answer.
Well, and I think that that's such a great point, because that comes back to exactly where we started, which was,
you're so good at this.
Go up and be your authentic self, and people are going to take notice, right? Anybody can, with a large budget, can do a really great job in marketing ads when they know what to do and what to say, and they can still have a shitty product, right? But when somebody shows up authentically and does the grunt work and just says, here's who I am, can I help you, can I contribute to you, yada yada yada, right?
Well, and when you look at like what the music industry has really changed drastically, especially because of TikTok, right? And for those artists, a lot of them have to do the grunt work and build that TikTok account to a certain amount of both following and engagement before they will even consider them, before they will even work with them. And so it's proof of what I just said. There's no circumventing it.
Yeah, and what I think is so cool about that is, and I think we actually talked about this the last time we chatted, the idea that so many people want this big payoff. They want to be famous, or they want to be a millionaire, or they want a big business, or they want to be an influencer, or they want to, but the character that it takes to get there is built in the grunt work. And
Exactly.
you said it like three times. You can't circumvent. You can't skip over that. You can't. And really, again, coming back to, at the end of the day, if we don't know who we are, if we don't know the character that's inside of us, we can't handle any of that anyway.
And your
Right? It
nervous
would crush
system,
us.
right? It's your nervous system. If your nervous system can't hold it, if your
Right.
nervous system isn't built for it, it's not going to work anyway, right? Like,
Right.
I really think, like, remember Dave Chappelle, like how he blew up and then he just disappeared? His nervous system wasn't wired for it. His nervous system hadn't been built up day to day by day by day by day to be able to deal with that and handle it. Look at, some of the musicians who've passed away, because their nervous system could not handle that next level. And so that's why the greatest income producing asset is your personal development, which is really all about your nervous system and preparing and molding and exercising your nervous system. I've never called it that, but yeah, you're literally exercising it. It's a constant
Yeah.
testing it to grow it and expand it, and being able to reframe and do that alchemy.
And I love that you're saying it like that from this perspective, because I play a lot in like the manifestation world, right? Like my program is manifest with certainty, soon to be manifesting on purpose, because we're always manifesting, right?
Yeah.
um but they all talk about like your vibe is your tribe. It's all about frequency. It's all, but they don't tell you what that frequency is. They don't tell you how to change the frequency. They don't tell you, they say thoughts are things, but
Right.
thoughts in relationship to how exercised your nervous system
Right.
is the frequency
It's
that
muscle memory.
attracts.
Yeah, it's muscle memory.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
muscle memory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, the frequency of lack is built in your nervous system, and the frequency of abundance is built in your nervous system. And that is the exercising and the practice that you're talking about. The grunt work is what gets your nervous system in line so that you can actually attract the thing. Yeah.
Right. And so much of it is familiarity and people going back to what they, and I've definitely self-sabotaged to, in corporate and relationships where, yeah, but it's the devil I know, right? A friend and I used to talk about it all the time. Because she would, with me, in the safety of me and the confidence of me, call her husband an a-hole, and she knew with me to back it up with, but he's my a-hole, right? Because I always say that all in relationships, all women are bitches and all men are assholes. It's just a matter of, that's your asshole, that's your bitch, and how much of a bitch you are going to accept and tolerate, and how much of an asshole, right, that you're going to accept and tolerate. And so it's just about that, what you're familiar with. And you've got to get to the point where just because you're familiar with it does not mean it's where you're safe at. When you can understand that and frame it that way and figure out what is safe and move toward that, it's going to move toward you. But as long as you keep hanging on to what's familiar, as because that's the subconscious is going to try to keep you safe.
There's a verse in the Bible that I always love because it's so disgusting that I'm like, talk about waking us up, right? And when we talk about, oh, well, it's the devil that I know, and we go back and we're like, yeah, and that's kind of like, Yeah, it's comfortable. But the way that the Bible describes it is as a dog returns to his vomit.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
know dogs
I'm
eat
familiar with
their
that one.
own freaking puke.
Yeah.
And so when I started thinking about it, like, do I want to go back to what I've already released? Do I want to go back to what I've walked away from? Like, why would I want to go eat my own vomit?
Yeah.
It
That's no.
totally changes my
Yeah.
ability to go,
That's a good one.
F no.
That's going to stick with me now because I don't even like when it comes up. I certainly ain't going back to it. Mm-mm. That's how I know how to hold my liquor because I'm not trying to taste it coming back up. That is, ooh, no, I can't do
Yep.
it. It's not for me. And I'm not. I
Yep.
am not Team Puke and Rally. Not Team Puke and Rally at all. So thank you for allowing my guest to be with us tonight. And she's over here going, "Yup, yup." She really thinks she's part of the conversation.
She is. Her little spirit knows exactly what we're talking about.
She really does.
I love it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's a sweetie. So yeah, embodiment. Identity is the new niche. Community is the new brand. And as I've been saying for years, conversation is the new lead. So when you can lead with, content that stimulates conversations and begin those conversations, the whole process begins. And I
Mm.
created a framework way back then that I thought I was like done with it. I think I'm gonna have to dust it out and have Chat GPT make me a nice diagram of it and start putting it out there again about how that all works together for me. Because it's basically what I help my clients with, along with their identity and embodying their identity.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hi.
Say hi.
Hi.
You
She's
gotta
like,
repeat them again.
who's that cutest baby? Who's that cutest baby on there? Love it. As soon
Yeah.
as she starts talking, she's going to be right there.
Oh yeah. She already is ready to walk and she's just 9 months old. She's a
So
little
cute.
smart baby. Little smart baby. So yeah. Anything else, girly?
I love what you're saying. I love again just getting back to the realness of just showing up as us and getting to do life and letting go of the pomp and circumstance and just getting to be real. And I think there's such a freedom behind that. And again, when we give permission to people to be free, like it's intoxicating without ever having to throw up.
And those are going to be the leaders going forward. Those who are free enough to be able to embody themselves, those are going to be the leaders of tribes and communities and movements going forward. It's not going to be these performative people. There's a
Yeah.
breaking away from the performance driven, and I don't mean performance driven as in results driven. I mean
Right.
performing and putting on a show and saying one thing and doing another, right? I
Yeah.
mean, like, we really want to get into it. Like we're moving into the age of Aquarius and all that. And so that whole performance driven stuff is behind us. It's not going to fly going
Yeah.
forward. And that's what people are going to be drawn to. And I think there is a cohort of us who probably some started building before, but we all started to come together around 2014, 2015. And I see where and my girl Keisha and I were talking about this. We've been doing the work this entire time for a time such as this.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And those who haven't been doing the work, it is showing. All is being revealed. All is revealed.
So good. So good.
So what's going on with you?
Yeah, just I think it's interesting how I don't even know that we had the in-depth conversation, but you know, a lot of what I've taught for so long is very it's identity based. It's very like who we are and how we're built, and we're 100% spirit and 100% human, and how to integrate those two things so that we can live this fullness of life. And I always knew something was missing. And just recently, I brought that nervous system piece
Mhm.
into how to truly embody everything I've been teaching for the last, 10 years. Um, that embodiment piece and watching the shift
Yeah.
is such a beautiful thing. And again, it comes back to, and it doesn't matter who you are or what you do, this is possible. And then everything that you get to do after that is just gravy, and it's just joy.
Yeah.
And when everything that you're doing in that building state, that thing that you were talking about, the doing the work,
Mhm.
even that becomes pleasurable. And then from there, again, success is so inevitable, that putting the effort into like seeds we're planting becomes so much easier when we don't have to effort the production of the fruit.
Yeah. And that's what I mean. Like those who people who know who they are going to be the leaders of tomorrow. If you don't know who you are, if you are struggling with your identity, you're going to struggle to lead. You're going to struggle to even follow because you don't know who you are at the core in order to be able to discern, because a lot I'm discernment driven, to be able to discern when you're hearing some BS.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
right.
And the value of that, even not in our business, but the value of that, like there's people who send me videos and they're like, oh my gosh, this is so blah blah blah. I'm like, this is so fake. Do you not see that this is fake? And they're like, no, it's not. And I'm like, how, how can you not feel and sense and experience how fake this is? It was so orchestrated. And when we don't know who we are, we'll fall for anything, right?
Yeah.
Like you have to stand for something or you'll fall for anything. If you
Yep.
don't know who you are, everything is gonna be able to be absorbed into you, and it's gonna get worse and worse and worse and worse.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You need to find this quote from TD Jakes. And it's like, when you don't know who you are, you will take on the identity ascribed to you
Mm.
by others. And that is so
Mm.
so dangerous when I think about, like, a lot of people don't realize corporations, their corporate culture is really a cult,
Mm.
right? Right? And they'll even have phrases like drinking the Kool-Aid or blue blood. I worked at an organization where the term blue blood was thrown around, right? Because that meant you were basically under the mind control of the occult. But when
Mm.
you know who you are, it's very easy. And again, because of discernment, and what'll happen is you often will feel like an outsider. You often will feel isolated, but you're actually being protected from being in spaces where things are happening that aren't going to fly for you, right?
Preach.
And
Yeah.
so you're being protected from that, but get you also, how do I want to say this? Your people know, I won't say not to mess with you, but they know they can't manipulate you. And
Mm.
because they can't manipulate you, that might be why you keep hitting your head against the ceiling, Tamira. And that is why you need to leave.
Yeah.
Because they know if they put you in that position, you don't feel like you owe them anything. You earned it. And so they cannot manipulate you and get you to do things that are against your compass, against who you are, because you know who you are. And when you know who you are, you know who you are not.
Yeah.
So you can't ascribe an identity to me. I've had people try to do that, right? Like, you're not going to tell me who I am.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that the law of attraction is actually a law. Like I love when people are like, yeah, you can apply the law of attraction. Bitch, no, you can't. Like you can't try to apply the law of attraction. You can't try the law of attraction. There's techniques, but the law is a law.
Right.
And when we are functioning in our truest identity, three things, there's only three results that can happen in the world outside of us. It will change to match our frequency, it will go away, or it won't change, but we won't notice because it won't affect us, right? And if one of those three things aren't happening, we are the only ones that need to go inside and say, what's my nervous system doing? What's my cognitive doing? Am I lining up with my true self and who I came to the planet to be? Because nothing outside of you can ever resonate different than how you're resonating inside of you. And so when we start to look at the world around us as the feedback to respond back to us, how am I functioning?
It's all
now?
feedback. It's
all just feedback.
It's all just
and
feedback.
Now we're in control.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love that.
It was so cool. One of my clients this morning, she goes, yeah, just all these things keep jumping on my plate. And I let her keep talking for a minute. And I said, okay, cool. How did you start what you just told us? She goes, oh, well, I was talking about this. And I go, okay, before that. And she goes, oh, I was talking about this. I go, okay, after that. And she goes, I don't know. And I said, here's what you said. Things keep jumping on my plate. Who's in control if things are jumping on your plate? Not you.
Right.
And so when we start to stop and realize and become aware of what comes out of our mouth, it will reveal to us who we believe we are in our identity.
Yeah, it's that whole being the casual observer.
Yeah.
Be the casual observer and just, oh, that's interesting. And collect the data. Yeah. Instead of absorbing it, being someone, and I don't know if I'm truly an empath. I believe, different things in my childhood and the way I was raised made me have to be hyper vigilant, made me have to be hyper aware of things, right? And so I say all that to say that I've had to learn to not absorb everything and take everything internally and it's and feel personally responsible for it, because I got to leave that at 18. I didn't have to be responsible for everybody and what they did, whether I was a part of it or not. And so, it's that casual observer of, you're feeling this, where's that coming from and why? And do I accept it or do I reject it? Because you don't have to accept it.
Right. Right. So good.
Yeah. You get to believe what's true for you.
Yeah. Yeah. And if what you're believing isn't true for you or isn't true for you anymore, right? Because sometimes it's just you evolve consciously in your consciousness. And so now you get to believe something new. And that's like that, oh, I'm going to leave that behind. There wasn't anything wrong with it. It aided me up to this point, and I'm so grateful for it. And now I get to continue to choose something new.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, well, I hope this was as fun this time as it was last time.
It's always fun hanging out with you, girl.
Good. We'll have to do it again.
Let's do it again.
Yeah.
Let's do it again. I love it.
Do it again. I think she wants to do it again too.
Yes.
No, you got her going. I keep telling you, I don't have no milk. I have no milk. My baby. Well, this was fun.
Yes.
She gets like this. That means she needs some solid food, so I'm gonna have to go. And her dad.
Alrighty.
Yeah. But this was fun. I always appreciate you, and it's always good, free flowing conversation. And I love that. I was like, well, I don't know, because she asked like, oh, well, are we just gonna riff or are we gonna? I was like, well, maybe I'll prepare a list, and we'll have that just as a guide. And you're like, no, we're just gonna riff it is.
Let's do it.
Let's just do it. Yeah.
Well, and again, that's the authentic show up and see what happens, because I mean, that served in so many different facets, the practical, the strategic, the embodiment, the like all of it. It was just beautiful. I thought it
Yeah.
was beautiful.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. So it's already on YouTube. Um,
Oh,
yeah, because I streamed it to YouTube. I don't know if you knew this. I streamed it to YouTube.
no.
My business page, which has 26,000 followers, and then my personal, my what is it, professional profiles like 7,500 or something like that. So it,
Sweet.
yeah, we had some numbers. I can see them. We've had some.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
All right.
have a great rest of your night.
You too. Talk to you later.
See
Bye
you
bye.
later. Bye.